You work harder. You sacrifice sleep. Yet the high performer who leaves at 5 p.m. still wins. It feels unfair, but it's actually the neuroscience of flow. This is the story of Liam and the week he discovered why effort alone wasn't enough and what his brain was secretly asking for instead. Liam was the last person to leave the office. Again, the building had that late-night quiet, just the hum of air conditioning and the distant beep of a cleaning cart. On his screen, the quarterly report looked fine. Not terrible, not brilliant, just heavy. Liam rubbed his eyes and checked the time, 11:42 p.m. He packed his laptop into his backpack, the same way he had almost every night for the last 2 months. Earlier that day, his manager, Ryan, had said, "I know you're working hard, Liam, but your projects still feel scattered. You're not breaking through." Those words stuck to him, like rain on a coat that never fully dried. On the train home, he scrolled through social media and saw what always seemed to appear on his feed. Wake up at 4 a.m. Outwork the competition. Grind while they sleep. Liam sighed. I am grinding, he thought. So why does it still feel like I'm running in sand? The next morning, Liam shuffled into the office with a coffee that tasted like burnt anxiety. As he sat down, he noticed Noah, the data analyst who sat 2 rows over. Noah almost never stayed late. He'd come in, put on his headphones, work intensely for a while, and by 5:15 p.m., his desk was empty. Yet in every team meeting, when big projects were shown on the screen, it was always Noah. Noah's dashboard increased signups by 18%. Noah's experiment uncovered this insight. His work wasn't just done, it was sharp. At lunch, Liam finally asked him, "Can I ask you something weird?" he said. "How do you leave on time and still do all of that?" Noah laughed softly. "Oh, I don't," he said. "I just cheat." Liam blinked. "Cheat? Not like that," he smiled. "I cheat by working in flow. I design my day around it." He'd heard the word before, in passing. Flow, that magical state where time disappears. But in his mind, it sounded like something artists and athletes got, not regular people making spreadsheets. Noah saw the confusion on his face. "Tell you what," he said, "give me 1 week. I'll show you what I mean." That afternoon, Noah slipped a sticky note onto Liam's desk. On it were 3 small experiments. Experiment 1, the stopwatch test. Experiment 2, the skill challenge map. Experiment 3, the 90-minute flow block. Liam stared at the note. It looked too simple to matter. But nothing he'd tried so far was working. So he decided to play along. Experiment 1, the stopwatch test. That evening, instead of staying late at the office, Liam did something different. He went home. He shut his door. He put his phone in another room. He opened the exact same quarterly report on his laptop, set a 30-minute timer, and told himself, "For half an hour, I will do nothing but this." No email, no Slack, no tabs, just data, just decisions. The first few minutes felt awkward, like his brain kept reaching for phantom notifications. But by the time the timer beeped, something strange had happened. The work still wasn't fun exactly, but those 30 minutes felt cleaner than the 3 messy hours he'd spent the night before. His mind wasn't bouncing like a pinball. For a few brief stretches, he'd almost forgotten about the time. He checked the sticky note. "Did time feel heavier or lighter?" Noah had written. Liam realized, for those brief moments of deep focus, time felt lighter. Experiment 2, the skill challenge map. The next day, Noah handed him a blank sheet of paper divided into 4 boxes. "Today's experiment," he said. The columns were labeled too easy, bored, too hard, anxious, busy but mindless, and just hard enough, fully engaged. Throughout the day, he told him, write down each task you do in the box it really belongs in. Be brutally honest. So he did. Copy-pasting numbers from one sheet to another, busy but mindless, answering a flood of small emails. busy but mindless, trying to redesign a report he didn't understand with a deadline in 3 hours. Too hard, anxious. But when he spent 25 minutes exploring patterns in customer behavior, looking for the story behind the numbers, he wrote that in, just hard enough, fully engaged. It was challenging. He didn't know all the answers, but his curiosity pulled him forward. At 5 p.m., he looked at the page. Most of his day had been spent in either busy but mindless or too hard, anxious. Very little of his time lived in that bottom right box. Noah nodded when he saw his sheet. "That box," he said, tapping it, "is where flow lives. It doesn't come from hard work alone. It comes from the right work at the right difficulty." Experiment 3, the 90-minute flow block. On Thursday, Noah gave him the final challenge. "Tomorrow," he said, "I want you to design one 90-minute block that has the highest chance of putting you in flow. No meetings, no messages, no multitasking. Choose a task that lives in that fully engaged box, something that's just a little bit above your current skill level." Liam thought about it. There was one part of his job he secretly enjoyed, turning raw data into a story for presentations. He blocked 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. on his calendar. Titled it, "Flow Block, Do Not Disturb." On Friday morning, he closed everything except the data set and a blank slide deck. He took a breath, the kind that feels like opening a window in a stuffy room, and started. At first, his mind fidgeted, but by 9:20, something clicked. He stopped noticing the clock. Questions appeared in his mind and answered themselves through the data. One chart led to another. A pattern emerged, a hidden group of users that kept returning after a specific feature. He moved faster, but not frantically. The work felt like a puzzle, not a punishment. When he finally looked at the time, it was 10:37. He'd worked straight through. The 90 minutes had felt like 25. And on his screen was the most coherent, insightful story he'd ever made from numbers. For the first time in a long time, Liam didn't feel like he had worked hard. He felt like he had been carried by the work. So what actually changed? Liam's total hours didn't magically double. What changed was how his brain was being used. Here's the neuroscience. Number 1. Hard work without focus splits your brain. When Liam stayed late at the office, half of his attention was on the report. The other half was on emails, notifications, and worries about his manager's opinion. His brain's attentional networks were constantly switching. Every time he changed tasks, his brain paid a switching cost. From the outside, it looked like hard work. On the inside, his brain was burning energy just by starting over, again and again. That kind of effort feels exhausting, but it doesn't create deep learning or high-quality output. Number 2. Flow happens in the just right zone. When he mapped his tasks, most of them were either too easy, which led to boredom, or too hard, which led to anxiety. Flow emerges when skill and challenge are balanced. The task is not trivial, but it's also not so overwhelming that your brain panics. In that zone, your brain recruits focused attention networks, especially in the prefrontal cortex, while dialing down self-conscious chatter in the background. You feel inside the work, instead of watching yourself work. Number 3. Flow feeds on intrinsic motivation. During his 90-minute block, Liam chose a task he was curious about, finding the story in the data. Curiosity and interest trigger healthy bursts of dopamine. This is the neurotransmitter that helps you stay engaged and move through complexity. Instead of using fear, like, "If I don't do this, I'll fail," Liam's brain got to use interest. "I wonder what's really happening here." Effort fueled by curiosity feels different. It feels like being pulled, not pushed. Number 4. Time distortion and deep encoding. In flow, people often say, "I lost track of time." That's not magic. It's attention. By giving one meaningful task his full focus, Liam's brain could filter out distractions, create deeper connections between ideas, and store those patterns more efficiently in memory. 90 minutes of true flow can beat 5 hours of scattered grind. Not because you are special, but because your brain is finally allowed to operate the way it's built. Hard work isn't the enemy, but hard work without flow has limits. It fails when you mistake hours for quality of attention. It fails when you live in tasks that are too easy or too hard. It fails when you rely only on fear and pressure to move you. Liam's breakthrough wasn't a productivity hack. It was a different relationship with effort. He didn't stop working hard. He started working deep. If you want to test this in your own life, you don't need to rebuild your entire schedule. You can borrow Liam's 3 experiments. Experiment 1. The stopwatch test. Pick one meaningful task. Put your phone in another room. Set a timer for 25 to 30 minutes. Do only that task. Then ask yourself, did time feel heavier or lighter? If it felt lighter, even a little, you just brushed against flow. Experiment 2. The skill challenge map. For one day, track your tasks in those 4 boxes. At night, look at the results and ask, how much of my day lived in the flow zone? Your goal is not perfection, it's awareness. Experiment 3. The 90-minute flow block. Once this week, block off 90 minutes for a single, meaningful task. Choose something that lives in that just hard enough box. Remove distractions. Let yourself sink in. Notice how that 90 minutes feels compared to the same amount of time half distracted. Hard work is still part of mastery, but effort alone isn't the full story. Your brain is not built to grind mindlessly forever. It's built to lock in, to stretch itself just beyond comfort, and to lose itself in meaningful challenges. That state has a name, flow. And when you learn to design your days around it, you'll stop asking, why am I working so hard for so little? And start noticing something quieter, but much more powerful. I'm finally doing less and going deeper. This video is educational only and not medical advice. If you try these experiments, pay attention not just to what you get done, but to how it feels to work this way. That feeling is your brain letting you know, this is what I was built for.